topic for today in the title.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel Cut the Calorie. So this is where we'll talk all about nutrition, wellness, overall fitness, and we also dive a lot into mental aspects as well. So as always, I'm your host Janki Karnik. I'm a professional chef and I'm also a nutrition coach. So today's topic is going to be a really requested one and a very interesting one because I'm going to break down step by step how to build a perfect nutrition plan according to your goals. So I have broken this down into a couple of steps which will be very easy to follow. So let's talk about step number one. So the first step before you do anything else is going to be defining your goals. So just take a pen and paper and really think about what is it that you're trying to achieve. Is it fat loss? Is it weight loss? Is it weight gain? You just want to maintain your health, or are you trying to achieve a specific goal? So just note that down and keep that at the back of your mind. Now, I would say have a long term goal and then break it down into a short term goal. So, for example, my long term goal would be I want to lose 10 kgs in 1 year, but I could break that down and say that I want to lose, say, 1 kg every month. So, this is why it won't be so overwhelming and it can be sustainable and achievable. Just keep in mind to be realistic in terms of your goal, nothing too drastic, and keep it achievable. So now that you've defined your goals and what it is you're trying to achieve, step number two is understanding how much you need to eat, aka your calories. So I'm going to be showing you how to find out your calories and everything about it. So let's dive deep into that. So like I mentioned, step two is knowing how much to eat. So this can be done by using any tools available online now. I'll leave the one which I'm using in the description below. This is from Optimum Wellness Academy, which is the one I have studied, by the way, in case anyone is interested. So let me just quickly walk you through step by step on how you can calculate your exact calories for your goals. So the first one you'll see is the BMI calculator. So this is going to show you an approximate what is your body mass index. So for example, let's say that I am 75 kgs and my height is 5 feet 6 inches. Now it's going to tell me that I am come under the overweight category because it shows that the overweight is from anywhere from 25 to 29. So this will give you a rough idea of where you currently stand in terms of your BMI. Now, do keep in mind the BMI is not 100% accurate because if you are, say, a bodybuilder, your weight could be really high and it could show that you are obese, but this is not accurate. So, the second one which we'll be covering is going to be your basal metabolic rate, which is going to show you how many calories your body requires. So, let me give you a same example. So, say I am taking for a female who is again 5 feet 6 inches. You can put in your height details. You can put your age. So I'm just going to put 27 for now. Her weight would be the same as before, which I took 75. Now, this is the main part which you have to be concerned about. This is the activity level. This is usually the part where a lot of people overestimate or underestimate what they do. So be hyper realistic with yourself in terms of where you are right now and then choose the correct pointer in terms of activity level. So if you were, say, working from home and you did barely any movements, so you would go for, say, constricted or confined to a limited space or little to no exercise. This is which I would usually consider for a lot of people because a lot of people overestimate the amount of steps they take. So at least be very realistic and then choose accordingly. So for example, for our example here, I would be taking 1.2 because she works from home and there's not much movement which is happening. So 1.2 I would be taking that and then you just click on calculate. So now you can see there are two things here which calculated. The first one is your BMR and the second one is your TDEE. So your BMR is your basal metabolic rate. Your BMR is 1650 and your total daily energy expenditure is coming up to 1980, which is what it calculated based on your activity level. So now if you scroll down, based on your TDEE, it would show you how many calories you require if you wanted to lose weight, which is what this example was. So I would always suggest going for a mild to the standard weight loss, which is anywhere from 0.25 kg a week to 0.5 kg a week, which is sustainable and realistic. So now ideally, whatever your BMR is, you would want to subtract or add or almost 200 to 300 calories above or minus that. So this would be your daily calorie requirement. Alright, so now that you understand how much you need to eat, now step number 3 is understanding what exactly you need to be eating. Basically your macros. So now let's dive into that and I'll show you how you can calculate your macros based on your goals. So as a general rule of thumb, if you're on a weight loss or a fat loss, you should always prioritize higher protein, moderate fat and lower carbs. Now, if you want to specifically gain muscle or gain weight, you should prioritize higher protein and carbs and of course moderate fat. So if your goal is general maintenance and general fitness, it could be a balanced approach where you're having 40% of proteins, 40% of carbs and then 20% of fats. So now that you know how many calories to eat, I'm using the same example where we're going to take around 1500 calories for her weight loss. Let's go into her macro calculator where we'll be understand how much and what she needs to be eating basically. So here I will be putting in her total calories for the day, which is going to be 1500 according to the example. And here I'm going to be basically having a moderate carb diet, or I can actually go for a low carb, and it's going to be automatically showing me how much proteins, fat and carbs I would be requiring to lose weight or lose fat. So another question I often get asked is how much protein should I be eating? So now again, as a general rule of thumb, it depends on what your goal is. So if you're just a beginner or if just started going to the gym or weightlifting or strength training and your goal is to build lean muscle, I would ideally suggest anywhere from 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per body weight. So this is what you would start with. If you're a moderate or a intermediate level, this can be slightly higher, where you could almost go from 1.5 to 1.7. And if you're at advanced level where you are solely building muscle and you're focusing on bodybuilding and building lean muscle mass, then I would also reach up to 2 grams of protein per body weight. So this is how you would calculate your protein allowance. Alright, so now that you have a good understanding of what you should be eating and how much you should be eating, the step number 4 would be planning your meals. I say that this would be perhaps the most difficult and the most important step in the whole thing, because this is actually what you are going to be consuming on a daily basis. So be very realistic with what your current schedule is like and divide your meals accordingly. So if suppose, for example, I'm a person whose day starts in the afternoon and I never have breakfast, I'm not going to suddenly get up tomorrow and start incorporating breakfast because that's the ideal thing to do. So see what suits you, see what suits your lifestyle and plan your meals accordingly. Again, as a general rule of thumb, 3 meals and 1 snack works for a lot of the population, but see what works for you and plan your meals according to that. So all your meals should always have your protein, fats and carbs in your meal, and then you can just allocate whatever your calories and divide them according to your meals. So focus on the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time you're eating clean, whole foods, and then 20% of the time you're a little bit flexible where you can have a meal or two from out. Of course, being mindful about that. But again, life happens, you're going to go out, you're going to enjoy, so don't be so hard on yourself. Just as long as majority of the time you're eating clean and to your goals, you're good to go. Alright, so the last step, step number 5, and perhaps the most important one, because you have your plan in place, you are set, you're ready to go. So the last step, step number 5, would be tracking and consistency. This is the most important thing. So please track your progress. I would say ideally every 2 to 3 weeks, because that's a good enough time frame where your body has been adjusted to the plan and you will slowly start to see some changes. So, of course, you can track your progress in terms of the scale, but please remember that's not the only progress marker. There are much more important progress markers apart from the scale, because scale can oftentimes be very misleading. So, I've talked a bit more about this, what other progress markers are there apart from the scale, in one of my Instagram videos. I'll leave the handle below so you can definitely check that out. So that's another thing. Please track your progress, because if you're not tracking the progress, you have no idea if you're going in the right direction. So please track your progress to know if you're going in the right direction, and please stick to the plan. So the last thing I would advise is get help. So get your friends involved, get your best friend to join you and support you, get a relative or anyone to support you through this plan and make sure you stick to it. Invest in a nutrition coach or a fitness coach. If you would want me to be this person for you, I would love to do that. You can find the link to my website and how to contact me and work with me in the description below. So you can definitely check that out as well. So just to sum up what all we discussed today and how to build the perfect nutrition plan for your goals, the first step would be always defining your goals. Have that very clear in your mind. The second one is then understanding how much you need to be eating according to your goals, which is basically your calories. The third one is understanding what you need to be eating in terms of your goals, which is your macros. The fourth one is planning your meals according to whatever we discussed above, which is your macros and your calories. And the fifth and the most important is tracking your progress and being consistent with it. So that's all I have for you today. As always, I hope that I provided some value to you, big or small. And I hope you like this video. Please do like, share, follow, and all of that good stuff. So I'll leave all my handles down below in the description. Please do share it amongst your friends and your family as well. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.